Alright, welcome to my first tutorial. How should I do this? Alrighty. So tired. So recently a friend of mine who's been cutting YouTube videos to create content and put it out there has been getting a lot of followers, and so he's trying to create more content, and I was watching one of his videos where he shows how he edits the videos, and but I noticed there's a couple things that I thought if he just does this, it could actually speed up his time, because he really wants to focus on creating content and editing like really efficiently. So I thought I'd make this video primarily for him, but I thought, you know what, if he's struggling with this, or if this is something that can help him, maybe there's some other people out there that it could help as well. I know this will help them edit faster and shave a lot of time off their life. Not shave off their life, shave off time from their editing, what they spend, how they spend time, how long they spend editing. It'll make that shorter. If you've done any kind of editing before, non-linear editing in the old edit bays with tapes and whatever, you know that this is your source window, this is your destination window. Traditionally you'll select an in point and an out point, and what I did was I pressed the letter I to select the in point and press the letter O to select the out point. And then usually what people do is they'll grab it and then pull it into the timeline, and then select the next clip, I and then O, and then bring it into the timeline and start assembling their edit that way. And one of the things that we want to try to stay away from as much as possible is doing this, where you go and select a clip and move it around, and then try to bump it in, and then trim it and trim it, and then move it, and like that works, it's fine. But if you're doing this a lot, then those few seconds will add up to minutes, and those minutes will add to hours very, very quickly. So what I would suggest is, this is all talking head, so there's no visual cues to where what sections I want to cut out. So a quick way to do that, and an efficient way to do that, is to use your J, K, and L keys. So J is backwards, and you can press it once and it goes backwards, plays it regular speed backwards. You press it twice, it goes double speed, triple speed, quadruple speed, depending on how many times you tap that key, J. Now you can obviously go forward, and you use the L key to navigate forward, and K to stop. So I'm going super fast. I think it goes 5 or 6 times. Okay. And then you can do K, and it stops. So let's say I pick this clip. This is the beginning. So I press I, which, oops. Let's select here. So I, which is just above the K, and then something maybe around here, and press O, which is just above the L. So really my left hand is hovering over JKL as my primary navigation, and if you have like a shuttle wheel, something like this guy, or any kind of like jog wheel type thing, you can navigate things faster. You can assign different short keys that you use often for these to these buttons, and that makes editing a lot faster. So if you're doing this professionally or wanting to do it professionally, definitely invest in something like that. I use it all the time when I'm actually editing. Those of you who don't have that, you can use navigation on the actual keyboard. And that same navigation that we use in the source window also applies down here in your main sequence window, timeline. You can go backwards and forwards. So once you've picked your in and out points in your source window, instead of clicking and dragging it in there, which, like, if you click and drag, it automatically by default does an overlay and overlays the clip on top of the existing timeline. So you would probably have to do this if you wanted to put it in front of what was already there, and then move this back. And that's probably how you've done it. But there's a quicker way. So you can do this, select your in and out point, and you can use comma. So comma on your keyboard, which is just under your K. So everything is right there for your right hand. And then say you wanted to lay down, let's pick another in and out point here. Say you wanted to lay down another clip here. Oh, and then instead, again, clicking and dragging, if you wanted to do this edit exactly, just overlay it in there, you can press period and it will just overlay it on top of the existing clip, wherever your playhead line is. Okay, so you do that a few times and you're starting to build an edit. Now you can go in and start trimming edits. That's like when you're doing just kind of rough assembly of your timeline, your edit. And then you go in and you can start doing some fine cuts, you know, just trimming, just like I want it there. But now we're quite zoomed out, so you can use your plus and minus keys to zoom in, zoom out. It's technically not plus or minus because you'd have to hold down the shift key, but I just remember as plus and minus to zoom in and zoom out. So zoom in to, you know, really fine tune where I want that edit. And once I get close, I can like use my arrow keys to navigate frame by frame. You can do tap, 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 tap to go frame by frame, or you can hold it down and it will navigate, like I think it's half speed if you hold down the arrow key, so you can find the exact spot that you want to lay down the edit. So now instead of doing,
let's zoom back out. So let's say this was,
okay, so instead of pulling this back like this and make your edit and then select this and then push it up, instead of editing that way, there's a quicker way, so that took a few seconds to do that. There's a quicker way that takes you like a second, which is like one keystroke. And so this is called ripple editing, and your left hand should be over the Q, W, E, and ASD, that kind of region of the keyboard. So when you want to trim off the back end of an existing clip and move whatever is behind that clip forward to bump it up against the playhead, you just press W. Bam. Done. Saves yourself a few seconds. I know it's just a few seconds, but you get into the habit of doing this and you're like really quick, then you're saving not just minutes but hours in the long run. So same thing applies to the front end. So say I want to, you know, this clip is not, it's a little too long. Let's zoom in there a little bit, and I want to trim off like up to here. I want to trim off this little bit. So the key that I press is Q, and Q and W are right beside each other, so you know W will take off the back end of the clip and bring everything behind it to that edit point, and Q will get rid of the front end of the clip. So this becomes very, very quick. Now, say you're in the middle of a clip and you want to just cut out this part here where there's a gap. There's an audio gap. And I'll zoom in so you can see it. I want to cut this out. So what I can do is lay down an edit point. I can, the way that you probably are used to doing it is to go to the razor tool and bring it over and make the cut, right? So now you've created an edit point there. Now, there's a short key for that. Instead of going to the razor, or usually you're in your selection tool. So instead of going to the razor, clicking it, coming over and laying down that cut, you can just press S, which I think is a reassigned short key for me. I think it was, if memory serves, it was the default setting is Command K, I want to say. and for PC users, Control K. I think it's that, but you can pull up on your, if you go into your keyboard shortcuts, which is under your Premiere Pro, you'll see all your keyboard laid out, your short keys laid out here, and you can change those. I've changed a few of them just so that I have them kind of in like, if you've played video games at all, in your standard kind of video game configuration. So we laid down an edit there, and now we can do this a couple ways. We can press Q here, and it'll cut off this chunk so that we get rid of this blank, this dead audio here. It's probably like I was stalling to do the next cut. I can press Q, and it edited that little chunk and pushed everything forward or everything backwards to line it up. Or if we want to cut that, you can take 2 steps, and because maybe you want to edit a little bit off there and a little bit off there, you can take 2 steps and you can lay down another edit line there and select by clicking on any of the, because these are all linked, the video or the audio, and then press E, which is edit or ripple delete, and basically what it does is it deletes the selection and then moves everything back onto it. So E, and it moves everything back. So you can do that. The other way is quicker. If you know you just want to cut this out, you just press Q, and then you've made your edit there. So that's essentially it. Just as an overview, just to review, navigation tools, bringing stuff in from your source footage, I/O, and then you can navigate, fine-tune, navigate with JKL, fast forward, stop, rewind, fast rewind by pressing it multiple times, J and L to go back and forth, and K to stop. And once you have your in and out point, find the place that you want to bring in your new clip, and then comma to insert, so it made the edit here, and then inserted this clip right here. Or you can I'll use the same clip, you can just overlay that clip into an existing clip on the timeline by pressing period. So that's insert and overlay. And then what else? And then we talked about ripple editing. So ripple editing, I want to trim off a little chunk here and move everything back onto it. Q, bam. I want to trim off the end of a clip and move everything back onto it. W, bam. Now sometimes sometimes what I do is when I'm editing, I'll I'll chunk things out kind of in blocks. Once I'm done my fine-tuning and whatever, and I want to bring all of these clips together, I can select the empty space here and press E for ripple delete. And again, I think that's one of the ones that I changed from the default setting, but I've changed it to E just so that I know Q, W, and E are all kind of ripple editing tools. So what I can do is, if I want to close that gap again, select any of that blank area and then press E and ripple delete that. So I think that's it. And then just a final review was to lay down a cut instead of going into your bridge tool and then making a cut, like so it's 2 or 3 steps. You just go and select what you want to cut and just press S, and it's done. S, 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 S. Right? Oh yeah. Oh, one way. Okay, 2 more things actually. This is bonus tips. Instead of doing this and pulling it back, now for something that's short like this, that's fine. Like, you know, if you're in the habit, you want to try to get out of the habit of doing this. But what you can do is press A, and you get these double arrows, and whatever clip you press on, it'll select everything from that clip on backwards. And if you press Shift A, it'll select everything from that clip like forward, like to 0. So I rarely use this side, like this way. I use A a lot, because then I can move Like I can move chunks at a time, right? That's one bonus tip. A to select whatever, like a chunk. And then Shift A to select behind the clip that you click on. And then, so that's that. I can move the playhead to, whatever area. Say this area, I want to get rid of this. I can move the playhead there. Instead of using my cursor or my selection tool to select this space, I can just navigate the playhead to where I want to delete this area and press D and it'll select. Or you could do it to a clip. You navigate to the clip, press D, it'll select that clip. It's just a faster way to select. Again, it's just like a couple seconds faster, 1 or 2 keystrokes faster, but when you're doing lots of editing and lots of videos, like it'll save you hours. I think that's it. That's all I got for you now. I'm sure there's a few other tips that I can give you, but those are the tips that I thought offhand, off the top of my head, as I was watching you edit. I thought if you had these tools, it could help you edit really quick. And again, like with anything new, it's going to be a little bit like your brain is going to have to think about it as you do it. So it's going to feel like, oh, this isn't that much faster. But as you get into the habit of like having your hands hovered over your keyboard like this, like it will at least cut your edit time in half. I'd say you do this for a while, and you'll notice a significant speed ramp in your editing. Anyway, that's it for me. It's really late. I wanted to get this out before going to bed. So I'm going to bed now because I'm so tired. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm tired and my eyes are bugging. So that's it. See you later. Hope it helps. And I'll post something else. This wasn't supposed to be my first YouTube video, but I think it's going to be. All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye.